formally introduces its 2016 campaign team. And Rwanda votes to allow President Paul Kagame to extend his term in office.
Good evening. Welcome to the studios of GBC24 and GTV. It's the last weekend before Christmas. This is the news. I'm Akushika Akwe.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba.
The country's largest opposition party, the New Patriotic Party, has formally introduced its 2016 elections campaign team. This was at its 15th extraordinary conference in Sunyani, the Bunahafo regional capital. The
party says the meeting is very strategic as it brings its members together to forge ahead for victory in the 2016 general elections.
The MPP's extraordinary conference was attended by over 6,000 delegates from across the country. According to the party, the conference gives the party a platform to iron out differences and map out strategies to garner victory in next year's general elections after 7 years in opposition. Analysts say the conference was also a healing balm over the series of incidents and internal wrangling it has been beset with in recent times, leading to the suspension of his national chairman, second vice chairman and general secretary. At the conference, former President John Ejikumu Kufuor encouraged the party to eschew violence and settle the differences in the party for cool heads to prevail.
The justification for the party is winning power. We need power, so we must include everybody within the party. Anybody who professes to be with us, we must include them. And not only that, once we show unity, I tell you, we become beautiful. And the people who are not able to decide, look at us and join us, because everybody wants to be with a victor. And I tell you, we may even win some from NDC itself, because they are suffering.
The vice presidential candidate of the MPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, said the dire state of the economy calls for the MPP to save it from further challenges.
Ghana's economy was transformed from a low-income HIPIC economy to a middle-income economy during that period. And it is always important that we tell our story.
The MPP's flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, said the party members and officials must respect the party structures and act in a manner that inures to the benefit of the party. He said he is ready to work with anybody who has the interest of the party at heart, and he called for support for a one-touch victory in the 2016 elections.
This election is for the MPP to win. This Mahama NDC government has nothing to campaign on. They have borrowed as if there will be no tomorrow and have mortgaged our future. They have used every infrastructure project they have undertaken to enrich themselves and impoverish Ghanaians.
The party's campaign team was formally outdoored. Dr. Bawumia is the chair of the team, while Mr. Peter McMenu is the campaign manager. All 10 regional chairpersons of the party are also part of the team. The party says this is to ensure that it works closer with the grassroots structures of the party to ensure its message goes down to the people.
The Adomi Bridge is now open after major rehabilitation work, which took 22 months to complete. The 12.9 million euro project was funded by the governments of Austria and Ghana. President John Mahama formally cut the tape to reopen the bridge and announced plans to construct another bridge at Volivo, near Asuchuari. We'll bring you that story later. Being adept at foreign languages comes in handy in the life cycle, especially when one interacts with a business counterpart from another country or in exchanging pleasantries. However, the question is, how can one communicate if one doesn't even understand a simple greeting in another language like bonjour in French? GBC24 finds out the level of interest among the public in learning any foreign language at all.
Tantas. Can you give me other examples, ejemplos en español?
No, it's muchas.
Muchas. Estupendo. Muchas.
Language is vital in every society. It is a means to deliver thoughts and communication. One of the legacies transferred to African countries by their former colonial masters was the adoption of European languages, especially English and French, as official languages. While some consider this a key resource, others see it as a challenge, indeed a barrier to communication. One way to overcome these hurdles is to study other languages to encourage international fraternization. French, Spanish, Arabic, Portuguese, Chinese, Russian, Hebrew, German are some of the foreign languages a Ghanaian can learn other than English and the various local languages. In an age where the ability to be multilingual is seen as an asset, I sought to find out randomly whether people would make any effort at all to learn at least one foreign language.
I think that it's important to learn another language, a foreign language, and because maybe when you are traveling from your country to another one, you have to know what language that people are talking to, and that really helps you to survive there.
I would just love to speak French as another language apart from the English I speak.
I wish to maybe study foreign languages such as French, German or Spanish.
Language experts still debate whether the constantly changing needs of society makes being multilingual a challenge as well as a desirable attribute. A recent conference held at the University of Ghana, Legon, discussed this phenomenon and made proposals to inform policymakers on the way forward.
My politics has always been, that multilingualism is not a problem in Africa. It should not be constructed as a problem. What we need to do is to find a way of harnessing the resource that multilingualism is.
A lecturer and the head of the School of Languages, a unit of the Ghana Institute of Languages, explained the need for every individual to challenge him or herself by learning at least one foreign language.
When it comes to languages, Ghanaians are lazy, let me say it. I don't know whether they are afraid to move out or they are afraid to learn the language, but it's something which is very, very, very beneficial. If we meet most students from the Francophone countries, they can speak a smattering of English, but we cannot say anything at all in French, which is a pity. I think that it's an opportunity for everyone to take advantage of this area, come here and come and learn a language.
I had the opportunity to sit in a Spanish class at the School of Languages, which was quite educative. GBC24 later caught up with some of the students studying different languages. Some are studying translation and others bilingual secretaryship.
Yo soy Eunice Issa, soy Ganesa. All I was trying to say is that I'm Eunice Issa and I'm a Ghanaian. I'm doing this because I want to become a translator in future. Foreign languages take you far.
My name is Jean-Pierre, like I said in French. So I'm here to learn English and then to become in the future engineer in telecommunication.
Eh bien, j'apprends l'espagnol et le français parce que je veux devenir bilingue dans le futur et apprendre beaucoup de langues aussi nous donne beaucoup d'avantages. I'm learning Spanish and French and I think it's a very good initiative to learn both languages because it gives you the opportunity to interact with different kind of people nationwide. Trust me, it has a whole lot of advantages.
Ein Schüler von Ghana Institute of Languages und ich studiere Übersetzung und ich bin in Niveau 200. Translation is one important element in our day-to-day activities that everyone, if not all of us, should study.
From my rounds, it was evident that the need for at least a foreign language must not be undervalued. For example, workers may be called upon to cooperate with colleagues from other countries, bridging time zones, languages, and cultures. The advantages of learning foreign languages are enormous. One can even earn a living from it, communicate confidently with foreigners, and improve one's vocabulary.
Je
m'appelle Kwisengalo Merilde, je suis ivoirienne et je fréquente au Ghana Institute of Languages. pour les francophones, l'école de langue du Ghana.
Ich zum Beispiel habe ich Deutsch gelernt. Ich habe Deutsch für 4 Jahre gelernt und jetzt kann ich ziemlich gut Deutsch sprechen. Die Leute, die draußen sind, die Deutsch machen sollten, sollen in der Schule von Übersetzung oder Schule von Sprachen Deutsch lernen. Dankeschön.
The value of speaking a foreign language does not only lie in a job preparation, but also in developing an understanding of other people and cultures. Apart from being a means of communication, it is the source of thinking as well as expression. We do, after all, live in a global village. Yaira Lawe, GBC24, Accra.
I wish I could also rattle like that in a foreign language, apart from English. Now, for the first time, the Ghana International Trade Fair is being organized outside Accra. The 20th edition is expected to take place in Tamale, the northern regional capital, next year. The fair is a platform for local and foreign businesses, industries and service providers to interact with potential partners to grow their network and business.
The event, scheduled to run from 25th February 2016 to March 7, 2016, is a collaboration between the Ghana Trade Fair Company and the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, SADA, with the theme, The Decades in International Trade Fairs in Ghana, Exploring Business Opportunity in the SADA Zone of Ghana. The February fair will be the first the Trade Fair Company is organizing outside Accra. The CEO of SADA, Charles Abugri, described the SADA zone as a frontier for investment and welcomed the decision to organize the fair within the zone.
We can tap investments and create spaces for the people of the Middle East. After all, we share the same culture of West and North Africa. We can create investments that are associated with health tourism, and we can build our tourism industry. Infrastructure potential are huge. The future growth and potential of this country lies in the southern zone and in the north.
The chairperson of the Trade Fair Company Board of Directors of GITFC, Hannah Mwating, said, organizing the fair within the SADA zone and Tamale in particular will open up the area to investors to tap into the numerous opportunities within the SADA zone. The Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, Mr. Mushebu Mohammed, urged businessmen and women to take advantage of the fair to market their businesses.
Back in Accra, the COTVET Project Support Unit has awarded grants of between $70,000 and $100,000 to 10 selected deserving institutions from across the 10 regions of Ghana. This is part of the government's strategy to rebrand and retool technical and vocational education and training institutions, TVET, to enable them to become self-sustaining productive units.
The grants are part of the government's support to develop the needed high-quality middle-level technical and vocational skills. The 10 selected institutions are Adan Technical Institute, Akwetia Technical Institute, Amankwa-Krom Technical Institute, Asuwanse Technical Institute, Bolga Technical Institute, Bandu Technical Institute, Nkuranza Technical Institute, Dabokwa Technical Institute, Wa Technical Institute and Krobia Asante Technical Institute. The Deputy Minister for Education, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, mentioned some key achievements.
Contracts have been awarded for the construction of modern infrastructure in 13 technical institutions. About 1,550 students have been awarded bursaries in TVET institutions. 25 PhD and master's scholarships have been awarded to faculty members and instructors in TVET institutions to upgrade their capacity.
The Executive Director of COTVET, Mr. Sebastian Day, explained its objective.
With the support of government and the Ministry of Education, this is just one of several initiatives we currently rolling to reform the TVET sector. Apart from the popular one that everybody appears to know about now, which is the Skills Development Fund, we are doing quite a number of things. You know about the role model program, you know about the things that we are doing in the informal sector, the National Apprenticeship Program. The IPU is just one of them.
A $120 million loan facility was used to implement this project.
An author, Mr. Andy Osei Okra, has launched his book, Transformational Leadership, Walking the Talk, in Accra.
Lack of transformational leadership has been identified as one of the factors hampering the continent's development. It is to remedy this problem that the author, Andy Osei Okra, wrote the book titled Transformational Leadership, Walking the Talk, to help discover the tools needed to become transformational leaders. In reviewing the book, the Dean of the International Programs of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor William Oduro, noted that the book has been well researched.
Building leaders of integrity to transform Africa was a key statement that he made. He also made some other statement that I put here. And he says the most significant factor for shaping national economic development, influencing stability and affecting peace is leadership. And I agree with him.
The author of the book, Andy Osei Okra, challenged individuals not to look to political leaders alone to solve the continent's problems, but to take up the mantle themselves.
Leadership is not about political leadership, but all our social leadership is very crucial. In the churches, look at the amount of power the church carries. Look at the chieftaincy. That's why in the book, Otumfo was profiled, for you to see what the traditional leadership can do if you have the right leader. An example, come to entrepreneurs. Look at entrepreneurs we profiled in the book. So we are praying, our focus should be there in these areas. And of course, we can't throw away the political leadership because they are supposed to also use the constitution to govern us. And that is why you look at the example of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and many others.
We're back in northern Ghana, where the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has come up with a three-step process to deal with the bird flu outbreak in the country. At a sensitization forum for poultry farmers and the media in the northern region, the focus was on early detection, report, and protect.
The bird flu disease was reported in the country in May this year in the Greater Accra region and has since been reported in the Volta, Ashanti, Western and Central regions. The forum, organized by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture MOFA, is therefore part of efforts to educate poultry farmers on the best poultry management practice to prevent the virus from spreading. At the Tamale meeting, the Deputy Director of the Veterinary Service in charge of Finance and Administration at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Augustus Aite, said the disease can mutate and affect humans, and therefore they need to sensitize farmers and the general public about it. He said the country also recorded the disease in 2006 and 2007, adding that with a concerted effort, it was able to control it. He said it is important to alert farmers about the early signs of the disease to help them prevent it from spreading to other farms.
This is not the first time the country is experiencing bird flu. There have been several outbreak sites of the bird flu being reported in the country with the following details. Number of outbreak sites, 31. With Greater Accra region recording 23, Volta region 2, Ashanti region 1, Western region 2, and Central region 1.
The Deputy Director of the Veterinary Service in charge of policy, Dr. Solomon Akonzole, said biosecurity is key to managing any poultry farm disease outbreak. He mentioned a foot bath, no contact with exotic and backyard poultry, and vehicle dips as some of the preventive measures. Participants at the forum spoke about the need for the veterinary service to educate regular fora to build their capacity on good practices to help improve on their production. The farmers were advised to wash their hands thoroughly with soap and water immediately after handling birds, confine their birds from other animals or wild birds, burn or bury dead birds, and waste away from the house, and also clean farm and poultry equipment regularly.
Statistics from the International Organization for Migration show that more than 5,000 migrants died this year alone in various parts of the world. At an event in Accra to mark the 2015 International Migrant Day, Thousands of people who lost their lives in search of greener pastures and a safe environment were remembered.
High illiteracy rates, unemployment, political instability, and difficulty in accessing visas have been recognized as some of the leading causes of irregular migration, with poverty topping the list. In 2015 alone, over 3,000 lives were lost on the Mediterranean Sea, recording the worst migration disasters. To curb irregular migration, the International Organization for Migration, Ghana Immigration Service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and other civil society organizations have met to discuss feasible solutions. They proposed that sensitization programs be implemented to drum home the dangers of illegal migration, easy accessibility to visas and passports, revamping of the educational sector to give more prominence to vocational training, and a control on deceptive foreign media content were some other solutions offered. The IOM Chief of Missions, Sylvia Lopez Ekra, said beginning next year, there will be an information center to assist would-be migrants to go through the process legally.
So what we want is to be able to have this dialogue with the young people in a safe space where we're talking about the dangers, but we're also discussing the livelihood issue. And whatever we can do to make sure that young people have opportunities in their regions and in Ghana is going to be very important in addressing the whole phenomenon.
Abdul Razak Rahman, a two-time illegal migrant, said education is key in the fight against irregular migration.
The journey is pushed by perception and motivated by desperation. So if you are desperate and maybe naive, inexperienced, what happens is that you leave home. So this is a situation where people put their lives aside and their destiny at the other side, and they are okay to choose from any, as to whether you get your destiny or you die.
To manage issues associated with migration effectively, IOM and the Ghana Immigration Service have undertaken a 3-year project to equip officials at the forefront of migration management and establish a national database for effective migration-related policy-making activities.
The Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, says members of Women's Aglo, a Christian women's group, must continue to support the country with prayers. He says prayer is vital to Ghana's continued peace and stability. He stated this at the Independence Square in Accra, where thousands of Christians gathered to pray for the nation, for God to guide Ghana as election 2016 approaches. A report by Gifty Ajay.
The Women Aglo is a network of caring and praying women who have dedicated their lives to promoting the welfare of women and girls irrespective of race, color and religion. On the 3rd week of every month, Women's Aglo meets to pray for the nation. As always, the group marked the end of this year with thanksgiving. They were grateful to God for seeing Ghana through 2015. Women's representatives from all 10 regions of the country presented items including gold, food items and livestock as thanks offering to God. In a message to the nation, the national president of the Women Aglo, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy Danso, advised Ghanaians to change their attitude towards work and the environment in 2016.
So let us stop throwing rubbish around. Some of us also go to work late and leave the workplaces before closing time.
Speaking on behalf of President Mahama, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, spoke about the importance of prayer to mankind and national development. The group's national prayer director, Mrs. Gifty Afeyindade, led some religious rituals as Ghana approaches election 2016. Some members of Women Aglo were honored for their exceptional contributions to the progress of the group. Reporting for GBC24, Gifty AG, Accra.
Occupants of a supermarket at Lakeside Estate in Ashale this afternoon escaped when a four-wheel Kia Sportage ran into the supermarket. According to eyewitnesses, the driver of the vehicle, who was found to be drunk, was driving at top speed and failed to slow down at the speed ramp, causing him to lose control of the vehicle, which finally came to a halt inside the shop. The police were prompt on the scene to assess the damage. Goods worth thousands of cedis were destroyed through the accident. This is News Hour on GBC24, and GTV will be back with more news. Now some business news. Christmas has started early for Madam Mayfair Owusua, a customer of the Tantra Hill branch of the GCB Bank. She has won the grand prize of 300,000 cedis of the GCB Big Money promo. The check was given to her at a short ceremony at the bank's headquarters in Accra.
The Big Money promo was the first since Ghana Commercial Bank GCB rebranded. The promotion is aimed at rewarding customers of the bank for their loyalty. Those who participated in the promotion had an account with the bank. Also, prospective customers who took part in the draw opened a new account with the bank with 500 Ghana cedis base money. Customers of GCB Bank had to maintain an average of 500 Ghana cedis in their account for a period of 6 months to be eligible for the promotion. The managing director of GCB Bank, Mr. Simon Donu, said the launch of the Big Money promo helped some of the customers to cultivate the habit of savings.
2015 has been an eventful year for our bank. We launched the Big Money promo to deepen the habit of savings by our customers. Today's event formally brings down the curtain on an industry-leading campaign and sets the tone for new initiatives aimed at improving the lives and living standards of our customers. We are glad that this promotion has been far-reaching and winners have come from all regions of this country. We have improved the lives by giving away prizes far in excess of 500,000 cedis.
The head of consumer banking of GCB Bank, Mrs. Doris Wunu, spoke about the package the bank has for its customers in 2016.
Draws every month, people winning every month, presentations every month, generators, tablets, phones, cash, changing 33 people's lives. I think, what else can we say but say GCB is the bank for life.
There were a total of 6 draws that were run by the National Lottery Authority, NLA. The draws included 4 monthly draws and 2 grand draws. The ultimate winner was Owusua Mayfair of the Tantra Hill branch in Accra. She received a check for 300,000 Ghana cedis as a grand prize. There were other prizes including generators, mobile phones and Samsung tablets. The Big Money promo was launched on 30th April this year and the final draw was held on the 24th of November 2015.
Christmas is the most beautiful time of the year, and one of the things that carries the Christmas fever around is the Christmas cards. It's a time to send Christmas cards to our family, relatives and friends, and more importantly to businesses. But the steam in the business has been taken away by social media, with a good number of people resorting to sending season's greetings via mobile phones and e-cards. 5 communities in the Bonahafa region now have access to clean water thanks to the Royal Bank. The bank says provision of water to deprived communities forms part of its corporate social responsibility.
The bank, which came into being in 2012, opened its only branch in Bonahafa less than a year ago in the central business district of Sunyani, but its impact is being felt far beyond the regional capital. The 5 communities which got the boreholes are Kusani and Tremikrum in the Doma Central Municipality, Kwame Pobi Krum and Osei Krum in the Esunafu North Municipality, and Kwapong Bronki Krum in the Esunafu South District. The team from the TRB Foundation was led by its chairman, Reverend Fostel Asagbo. At Tremikrum, an elderly woman, Akosia Nyankomago, told GBC24 how pleased she was that water, which has been a challenge all her life, is now going to be readily available. The former assemblyman for the Kosani electoral area, Kwejoe Pia Treme, was glad that his appeal to the Rotary Club led to the Royal Bank coming over to provide the community with water. The sense of joy and gratitude was the same at Kwame Pobi Krum, where this infested well was the only source of water until the intervention by the TRB Foundation. A resident was full of thanks to God and the bank for their good fortune.
The well we relied on was not hygienic. We thank the Royal Bank for their kind gesture.
At Bronikrum near Kwapong, GBC24 spoke to the operations manager of the TRB Foundation, who is also the marketing manager of the Royal Bank, Dr. Kwame Ba Nyako. He revealed that the bank plans to provide 6 boreholes per region each year until provision of potable water is no longer an area of concern in the country.
The founder believes that water is life. If we can continue providing water for the communities, there's the less likelihood that they will fall sick. I mean, instead of giving, so his philosophy is that instead of building a hospital, give them the water, so they don't even get sick in the first place, because it's easier to prevent than to cure.
The chairman of the TRB Foundation, Fostel Asagbo, urged the people to encourage their relatives abroad to use the services of Royal Bank to remit them.
For us, as a foundation, we think that it gives us an indication that our goals, our objectives are being met. That is trying to bring help to the doorsteps of needy, very needy communities.
He added that the maintenance of the boreholes will not be left entirely on the shoulders of the communities.
Next is the My Journey segment of the news. That is where our reporters tell you the experiences on their line of duty.
Good evening and welcome to the My Journey segment of the news. My name is Ifiachirema Owusu. Now, it's been 6 months since the country experienced one of its worst floods ever. Most lives were lost, properties were destroyed, and precious documents were washed away. For the victims whose lives were spared, and for those whose livelihood were destroyed, June 3rd has left an indelible mark in their memories. GBC24 takes you to Asalam Down, one of the areas badly affected by the flood. The residents are still painfully picking up the pieces and remain haunted by the events of that Black Wednesday. It was indeed a black day for Ghana. More than 200 people lost their lives after about 12 hours of heavy rains made worse by a fire explosion. In Accra, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Kanishi, Nima, Teshi and Asylum Down areas were among the many neighborhoods worst affected by the flood. In response to the incidents, President John Mahama declared 3 days of national mourning for the victims. The government also released 60 million Ghana cedis to support the victims. 6 months on, and many of the flood victims have barely forgotten their experiences.
I
had to carry my 4-month-old baby to keep her safe.
My daughter said, "Daddy is coming." She went into the hall and said, "Daddy, no konye." My wife followed. She didn't make any remark. But when I got into the hall, I realized that the place was more or less electrified. So I carried her, and just around the time that we had more or less gone out of the room, I heard a big boom. And that's when I told my wife that, look, we are saved because the wall is broken. So the water will do what? It will move into the next house.
On a visit to Asylum Down, one of the flood-prone areas in Accra, GBC24 discovered that 2 out of every 6 homes that suffered the June 3rd flood had abandoned their houses. whilst those still in the area have not been able to do any major repair works on their buildings. 4 dogs in the cage on that fateful Wednesday in June were all washed away during the flood. This woman demonstrated how she and her family managed to escape. Antoinette Vivi is a dressmaker. She told the news team that business was affected, but she's been able to pick up the pieces and get back to work.
We are managing it still. Customers, some of them are still coming. But some of them today, those who didn't understand, they didn't come.
Madame Philippine Ayi has been a petty trader in the area for the past 6 years. She said she's still struggling to get back to her everyday life and put her business back on track since the flood washed away all her wares. Everything was washed away. Those there are in bad conditions and cannot be sold.
White no adane colored inti ubane se medechira se o ipa ocho meti sopo amawa womonto.
Apart from the June 3rd flood, residents in Asylum Down agree that the main drainage system in the area has been a major cause of regular flooding in their homes. The Asylum Down drain was constructed in the year 1963. It collects water from a river source in Ebri and runs through Adenta, Mamobi, Nima, Paloma, Asylum Down through to the Odo River, which finally enters the sea. Connected to the beds of the drain are domestic waste channels which flows midway into the drain. Residents in the area attribute this to the cause of the floods.
If you look at the size of the Odo and then the size of this drain entering the Odo, it's like a saloon car, moving into a major road when there's an articulator. Because the Odo itself fills and overflows. We also believe that if at the end the edge is more or less curved to flow with the Odo, it may ease the pressure that is built up here.
Currently, the Nima drain is being constructed, and this is of extreme concern to the residents of Asylum Down. They say the construction of the Nima drain will lead to further destruction, especially if it rains, if the government does not expand portions of the Asylum Down drain. Their wish is to see a well-fortified drain that will give the water unhindered access to the Odo. Evidently, most of the flood victims have moved on with their lives, but June 3rd remains etched in their mind and in the pages of history. For these residents, until the Asylum Down drain is properly reconstructed, they still live in the fear of another June 3rd whenever the heavens open up with rain. GBC24 is re-echoing the appeal and concern of the people of Asylum Down. They hope that their united voices will be strong enough and heard on the corridors of power so that their drain can be reconstructed. But for now, they still live in fear and are trying to keep prepared for whenever the rain sets in. My name is Ifiachirema Owusu. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of the news.
Now some international news. Nigeria's military has announced a reprieve for 66 soldiers who had been sentenced to death for refusing to fight Boko Haram. The soldiers who were to be killed by a firing squad will each serve 10 years in prison. They were convicted by court-martial over their refusal to drive down a road at night after dozens of colleagues died in a Boko Haram ambush. The sentences were commuted following a review of court-martials. The review was ordered by General Tukur Barata, that's the country's Army Chief of Staff, and nearly 600 other cases are also being considered. Hundreds of Nigerian soldiers have deserted their posts, complaining that they are not properly equipped to fight Boko Haram, a terror group which has allied itself with the Islamic State group.
Rwandans have voted overwhelmingly to allow President Paul Kagame to extend his term in office. Some 98% of voters support changing the constitution to allow him to run again in 2017 after 2017 after his second term ends. Mr. Kagame, 58, could remain in power until 2034 if the changes are passed. The vote took place despite criticism of such an amendment by the US and other Western donors. Rwanda's Electoral Commission said 21 out of 30 districts had published results so far, covering about 70% of voters. Mr. Kagame has not said if he will run again, but he is widely expected to.
Several people have been killed in a gun and bomb attack in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. Eyewitnesses say they saw a cloud of smoke rising at the scene and many wounded. Reports also say at least 3 people had died. A police official said the attack began with a shooting, followed by the detonation of a car bomb when police arrived. It was not immediately clear who was behind the blast. Reports also say most of the casualties are civilians. Next is sports. Some sports news now. The Ghana Military Academy has ended its 3-day inter-platoon novices boxing competition for regular career course intake 56. After a series of fierce battle, the Best Platoon Award went to Chiringa.
The Ghana Military Academy Interplatoon Novices Boxing competition has ended at the Military Academy and Training School's Drill Square in Accra. The 3-day competition was to inculcate into the officer cadets virtues of endurance, teamwork, and esprit de corps under trying conditions. The competition attracted high-profile personalities, including a delegation from Jamestown, led by the head of the Kingmakers of Jamestown, English Alata, Ni Sampa Kojo Diosiahene. Officer cadets intakes battled each other in different weight categories. Boxing is one of the unarmed combat skills that professional military personnel must be conversant with. Officer cadets from Chiranga were outstanding as they displayed physical fitness, bravery, determination, and endurance. The special guest of honor, Brigadier General Reginald Odoi, the General Officer Commanding Northern Command and Armor Corps, Ghana Army, charged the officer cadets to use their boxing skills to protect innocent civilians.
From this perspective, let me seize the opportunity to admonish you cadets that this competition was in no way aimed at equipping you with the skills to visit brutality on innocent civilians in future. In fact, the skills which you have acquired here are to be used to protect the innocent and to defend the nation.
Awards were presented to individuals for their outstanding performance. Officer Cadet Mohammed Faisal was adjudged the best boxer. The best female boxer award went to Ellen Tewia from Chiranga. On the team event, Burma Platoon finished 3rd. Abyssinia came 2nd, with Chiranga picking the ultimate trophy.
The Ghana Olympic Committee has held its annual Congress at the National Hockey Stadium in Accra. High on the agenda was how to mobilize funds for the upcoming Rio 2016 Olympic Games.
Olympic Committee held its annual Congress on Friday, December 18th. Topical issues discussed by the highest decision-making body of the GOC were the reports of the President of the GOC, consideration of the reports of auditors, consideration of audited reports for 2013 and 14, and the discharge of Executive Board. Also, the appointment of an auditor and how to raise funds for Rio 2016 were discussed. The session was attended by delegates of the over 30 national associations affiliated to the GOC. After fruitful deliberations, we chanced on the President of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Professor Francis Dodu, who touched on the progress made so far.
We set out to try to, as a GOC a few years ago, to try to deal with 4 things that we put on our strategic plan. One of them was funding, another one was improving the medical anti-doping aspect of what we do. With those 2 issues, I think the GOC has really done well to try to put together plans, and what we need is the concurrence of the Ministry and the National Sports Authority to effect the plans that we've come out with, because we can't do it alone. The other thing has to do with helping the federations become autonomous, and that's a continuous project, and so we are working on it, and we've done a little bit on that. The fourth one we conceded we hadn't gotten far with, and it's the gender composition of the federations and the Olympic Committee. I think today some of us made a commitment that by the next time we come to Congress next year, we will have delegates from our sports as female, that are female, and we're hoping that other federations would take the challenge on that, because if everybody comes with one male and one female delegate, we'll be on our way to achieving what we should be.
And that was sports.
Before we bring you news from the world of entertainment, we take you back to Atimpoku, where the Adome Bridge is now open after major rehabilitation work, which took 22 months to complete. The 12.9 million euro project was funded by the governments of Austria and Ghana. President John Mahama formally cut the tape to reopen the bridge and announced plans to construct another bridge at Volivo near Isuchari.
The Adome Bridge was constructed between 1955 and 1956 under Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to link the eastern and parts of Volta region. It was to replace a system where vehicles and passengers were ferried to and from Senchi across the Volta River. The span of the suspended bridge is 245.5 meters with a 10-meter deck above water. The rehabilitation of the bridge became necessary following some defects identified some 7 years ago. The 12.9 million euro project, which took some 22 months to complete, was executed by Austrian bridges engineering firm Bilfinger. The rehabilitation project included demolition and installation of steelworks, replacement of concrete with steel decks, corrosion protection, and asphalt works. The Omanhene of Akwemu traditional area, Odeneho Kwafu Akoto, and a representative from the Volta Regional House of Chiefs commended government for repairing the bridge to ease the challenges commuters endured when it was closed. They hoped economic activities in the area will rebound for the people to earn their living. The Minister of Roads and Highways, Alhaji Nusa Fusheni, explained why government found it expedient to rehabilitate the bridge. President John Mahama was happy that life is now back to normal for the people in the area as well as for commuters. He announced other bridge projects being carried out in the country, including the eastern region. He said the government is negotiating with the Japanese government to construct the southern Volta Bridge at Volivo, near Isuchari. The president then inspected the completed bridge.
Some arts news. The much anticipated Ifia Girl Talk concert has taken place at the National Theatre in Accra. The 5th edition of the Girl Talk concert was full of glitz and glamour. GBC24 brings you highlights.
The all-female band set the ball rolling with a lively performance. A male councillor, Mr. George Lutrot, gave a talk on the value of women.
It's so sad that you can find your fellow woman fighting a fellow woman on behalf of somebody standing calling himself a man. If the world will be better, it's not when women become soldiers, but it's when women take their rightful place and define the value of womanhood.
Indeed, it was a Girl Talk concert, but when 3 very tall artists, Joey B, Papi Kojo and EL, took the stage, the audience went wild. Although an Afro-soul singer, the headline performer for the night, Ifia, delved into gospel music and was later joined by Joe Metal, a gospel musician. The loudest female TV and radio presenter cum comedian, Ifia Schwarzenegger, was at her best entertaining the audience.
If you want to see the type of woman your guy fantasize, just ask his friend. Tell me your kind of girl. And you hear them vomiting rubbish. I want a girl with a body like Kim Kardashian, with a skin color like Joyce Linduma. The men are deceiving us. So this evening, I came fully deceived. Oh yeah, you must be stupid to think this is my ass. I borrowed it. Honey, we are here to deceive them. Please ask your neighbor, are you sitting on your own bottles?
Being an all-female show, all the male journalists and guests who sneaked in were asked to leave the auditorium at this stage, but the instrumentalists allowed to stay were men. The concert was graced by the grandpapa of hip.
Bouncing back into previous prominence in its 22nd edition, it certainly lost some sparkle. The children's fiesta Kida Fest was relaunched on Friday at the National Theatre in Accra.
Kida Fest is an annual children's festival which is held during Christmas for children across the country to come together and make merry. Some activities undertaken by children include dancing, face painting, singing, drama, poetry and choreography. In the past editions, top artists thrilled children to some good music. This year's event has been launched at the National Theatre under the theme Creating Harmony Through Cultural Diversity. Organizers say this will help promote cultural diversity.
You see, and Kida Fest is a national program that, offers an artistic platform to the children of Ghana and beyond to rehearse what they have, to appreciate creativity and to discover themselves, not only in the world of culture or the art, but, to open up, to develop their confidence.
The program starts this weekend at 9 a.m. Saturday and end at 5 p.m. Sunday.
With technical support from the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the Winkle Weather Report. The Harmattan, though we have the negative aspects today, I want us to dwell on the positive aspect. When we wash our clothes, it dries up quickly, and also our food doesn't get spoiled that easily, stay a bit longer. And then another important thing is nowadays the mosquito bites are less compared to the rainy season. All these things is due to the dryness over the sky. And then in terms of the relative humidity over the north, from now till tomorrow, we expect it to range between 10 and 20% over the northern sector, 10 and 25% over the middle sector. Those over Ashanti region down to the coastal strip, we expect their relative humidity to range between 45 and 60%. In that case, we are anticipating some few clouds over the coastal strip, Greater Accra, Central and part of Western region, though it's not going to produce any rain, just some few clouds that will clot or clear the sky of some dust particles in the sky. In terms of temperatures for the northern sector, is going to range between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius. The middle sector is going to range between 18 and 22 degrees Celsius. For the coastal strip, it's going to be an average of 23 degrees Celsius. That's the inland areas. But over the sea, the ocean, we are anticipating the surface to be as warm up to about 28 degrees Celsius over the sea. So fishermen that will be going out for fishing tomorrow or this night up to tomorrow, you will see that sharp contrast between the temperatures. The land areas will be cooler than the surface of the sea. And for the afternoon tomorrow, we expect it to be warm across the whole country, dry with hazy sunshine Temperatures will be as high as 34 over the upper east region, but 35 over the upper west region and the northern region. The rest of the country will have a uniform temperature of around 33 degrees Celsius. So this is going to be from now till tomorrow. Up on our screen is the outlook for the next 48 hours. Here is dry, so please drink a lot of liquid. If you ask me, drink water.
Thank you for watching the news. Do have a rip-roaring Saturday night.